Hello, everyone. I am so glad to be here with you for World Childless Week 2020. My name is Sarah Chamberlin. I author the blog Infertility Honesty, and I'm also a certified yoga teacher. My primary areas of practice being alignment-based yoga and some yin yoga too. So we are here in honor of Worthiness Day, and what we're going to be doing is a mindfulness meditation that incorporates breath work. Now, the actual seated portion of our practice is not going to be too long today. It's actually going to be fairly on the short side. However, we will be skimming some concepts and some practices that I myself have found to be quite useful throughout navigating my experiences with not being able to have children. So with that said, I'm really glad to get to be sharing this with you today. Now, what we're going to do is I'm first going to take some time to go over seating options. That way you can choose the option that you think will best suit you, and you will know what you need to know to set yourself up well. At that point, you can pause the video, go collect whatever it is you need to collect, then we'll resume, and we will start our seated practice, which should run approximately 9 minutes. So if you are a beginner, if you're new to this kind of a thing, this really should be a fairly reasonable situation for you to kind of dive in, take a seat, and try it out. And any seasoned practitioners who are tuning in, I welcome you as well. One item of housekeeping to finish up. This is a pre-recorded video. However, I will be checking in on the thread once it's posted. So if you care to leave any comments or ask any questions, absolutely feel free to connect with me that way, and I will do my best to respond. All right, so getting into options for sitting for this practice. What I'm going to suggest is you can either do this meditation sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor. Regarding sitting in a chair, the first thing I wanted to say is that if you're, once again, a beginner, new to this kind of a thing, doing this in a chair would probably be the more reasonable and accessible way to go. Now, you want to have a chair that is firm and relatively flat, something that you can feel supported in and something where you can sit up nice and tall. So when you're positioning yourself on the chair, you want to have yourself positioned so that your feet can be making some nice contact with the floor. For many of you, that will put you in the middle of the chair. Some of you maybe even will have to sit up on the edge of the chair. And if you find yourself needing some upper body support in the midst of the meditation, you can move yourself back on the chair and just lean in on the back of the chair and get some support that way. Now, for those of you who are going to be sitting, you want to be sitting up on at least one folded blanket. So you can use a traditional yoga blanket like this if you happen to have some lying around. If not, really any blanket should do just fine so long as it's textured. You want to avoid slippery blankets because we want to be sitting up on the edge of a blanket or blankets without sliding off. So for your sitting position, there is this position that I'm using now, where you have one ankle relatively in front of the other, one leg relatively in front of the other. Now, not everybody's flexibility accommodates this position, so you can also cross your ankles like this. Now, to get your knees at or below the level of your hips in either seated position, that's ideally what we want to be working towards anyway. You may find that you have to sit yourself up on more than one blanket. So if you need to be sitting up on 2 or 3 blankets to get yourself at or below or get your knees, I should say, at or below the level of your hips, then that is a good thing to do, and you should definitely do that. Last but not least, addressing the potential need for some upper body support if you're in a seated position during meditation. If you think this might be necessary for you, I invite you to set yourself up against a wall space, actually about 1 or 2 inches away from a wall space. That way, if you need to just lean back slightly in the midst of the meditation, getting some upper body support for yourself, then you can do that. Okay, so if you need to pause the video, now would be a good time to do that. Go ahead and gather whatever it is you need to gather, and then we will begin shortly. Okay, so if you've paused the video, you have returned, you are settling down, getting set up in your seat. Now, if you're sitting in a chair, you can lightly, loosely clasp your hands, turn your palms up, and place your hands in your lap. And if you're seated on the floor, you can assume this hand position. You can also place your palms flat at or just below your knees, just above your knees, I should say. Close your eyes. Starting to draw your attention inward. Any outward facing attention that you've experienced today, through work, through activities, other details, start to pull it in. You're feeling your seat, your pelvis, heavy on your blanket or your chair. Slightly, gently draw your lower back in and up, letting yourself grow nice and tall through the crown of your head. And now give your shoulders a slight roll towards your back body, broadening yourself through your chest. Turning your focus now towards your natural breath. Watching your breath exactly as it is in this moment, unmanipulated. And as you begin to watch your natural breath, you may start to notice characteristics as to how it is now. Is it even or uneven? Is it rapid? Perhaps slow and easeful. We're not trying to manipulate or fix or change anything here. We're simply watching, getting a feel for our internal landscape. And continuing to stay with the breath, watching the natural breath, you may start to notice any thoughts or feelings that might be surfacing. Gently name them. Gently name even one of them. So we're not actively trying to move towards any one particular thought or feeling. We're not actively trying to push anything away. Name whatever it is you can, and then softly return your attention back to your natural breath. The ultimate intention here being a freedom from self-judgment, knowing that you are worthy of whatever it is you're experiencing in this present moment. You are absolutely worthy of the space to be as you are now and always. Right, so we'll be starting to control the breath a little bit more as we move forward by extending our inhales and exhales. So on your next inhale, inhale to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Pause at the top. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Pausing at the bottom. Inhaling. 1, 2, 3, and pause. Exhaling. 3, 2, 1, and pause. Talking through one more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Pausing at the bottom. And then continuing this way on your own count. And letting your breath be slow and easy. Keeping that even and steady extension of your in-breaths and your out-breaths. And stopping for the spaces in between. So when we evenly extend our inhales and exhales, this assists in quieting the mind. So I often wonder if any unworthiness narratives that might be present, I wonder if many of those don't reside in that peripheral chatter that goes on in our heads. And so by quieting the mind via the breath, we're kind of stripping away some of our own superficial layers, bringing ourselves closer to our true essence, which is worthy and valuable. Your true essence is relevant. It's loving. It's powerful. All right, so we'll go a little more deeply into the breath before we wrap up our practice. So for this next phase, you can either maintain the in-breath and out-breath to the count of 3 if that's working for you. Or if you find the counts evaporating, that's fine too. That'll work well here as well. So first, feel your seat, once again heavy on your blanket or your chair. Gently reaffirm your lower back in and up, sitting up tall. And on your next inhale, inhale a fuller breath this time, feeling your ribs expand, perhaps your lower abdomen expand. Exhale, lengthening up through your spine. Inhale fully, feeling expansion through your mid-body, your lower abdomen. Exhaling, keep that expansion as you grow taller. Continue this way on your own. Breathing long, full breaths. Breathing into the space in your inner body. No need to rush here. You're allowing your breath to expand your inner energy, your inner life force, your inner light. Whichever image or reference may resonate for you. Or if you have another image or reference along these lines you like to use, you can definitely do that here. Right, so you're letting your inner growth and expansion, it's not tense here, but rather it's flexible, it's willing. It's an affirmation of all that you are. Take one more round of a long, full breath. Gradually now returning to your natural breath, which will feel a bit more shallow, a little bit lighter, more in your background. Noting how you might feel now if anything is present for you. Bring your hands to your heart, palms are touching, bow your head. Leaving you with the quote from Brene Brown, simple yet resonant. There are no prerequisites for worthiness. May you know and remember your worth as you move forward. The light in me bows to and honors the light in you. Or in other words, simply, namaste. You can bring your hands down, keeping your eyes closed. Slowly raise your head. With your eyes still closed, look down towards the floor. And now you can slowly begin to open your eyes. You can pause here if you'd like, absorbing the effects of your practice. Those of you who are seated in a chair, get up carefully and slowly. And if you're on the floor, you can get some support from your fingertips. Lean back just a bit, slowly bring out one leg, then the other. Give them a little shake. Thank you, everyone.